So this right here, folks, is an episode that is important in the history of the Productive Conversations podcast. Not only we're doing a regular show as per usual, but we're introducing a new member to the team. So I'd like to congratulate and introduce to you the new associate producer of the Productive Conversations podcast, Dolo Ren. Thank you for this as we start our partnership to grow the show even more. How are you doing, man? So glad to have you.
Oh man, it's good to see you, Matt. It's good to see you. It's been a while since we, did an episode, got up on here and chatted it out. It's life's been crazy, man. I don't know how else to put it, but it's been
For real.
steady. Everything's been steady though. Everything's been all right, man.
And
I've been
now we
kind of
have, oh, sorry, you were saying?
Nah, it's cool, it's cool. I kind of been a little offline for a few months. Long story, but we've always kept in contact. You already know what's going on with me, but yeah, man, you know, try and get back in the mix of everything, man. I'm glad to be here, bro.
Absolutely. The first elephant in the room for people watching, you will see a bandage on my forehead. Well, I fell taking out the trash, which is a true story.
Oh man, you might have to go into the story later, man.
We could a little later, but we're all set and good. But besides that, also, like I said, me and Dolo have been staying in touch. You know, a friend of the show, who's a podcaster himself. And one of the best things Dolo's ever done for me is being not only such a great friend, but always being there. And I noticed that he has such a drive. And then when you offered your services to edit the show in the social media sphere, you said you just reached out to me and said, "Hey, let me help you edit some of these videos for social media. I know you're a one-man band, and let me help you out and lighten the load." So
That's a
that led to
fact,
more
bro.
conversations and coordinations. And long story short, Dolo is the first person to be on the staff of this show besides me. So I am bringing Dolo Ren on professionally now. Alexander Dejesus, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ski. New employee, new associate producer, joining the Productive Conversations podcast network. It's an
That's
honor, bro.
right. You are now the first official associate producer of the Productive Conversations podcast. So what that means, Dolo will be in charge of post-production work in terms of developing social media videos. He started it off with our Bronx Zoo podcast. Jake Kozak from the Bronx Zoo, he edited some of those videos for us, and that begins our partnership there. With this, also, Dolo will come on for some episodes to co-host with me, certain interviews, and to just shoot the shit. And he will also help with
Yes,
content
sir.
creation ideas, help promote the show, help market it. And as we start meeting people in high places, Dolo will join me as my partner there. So now, the first official partner of the Productive Conversations podcast, you're the associate producer now. We pretty much just said your job description. How are you feeling about this, my dude?
Oh man, well, funny thing is, starting from Word for Word podcast, the podcast I had with Bars, shout out Bars,
Shout
you
out
know,
bars.
definitely got to shout out the NBA squad later. But
Mm-hmm.
uh started off, I didn't realize that you actually started this podcast in 2020.
Yes,
I didn't
that's right.
realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And it dawned on me that we started our podcast ventures at the same time. And ever since I started, bro, like you've been there supporting. You always supported everything we dropped, all our clips, all our episodes, when we went live on Facebook, like all those times, bro. You've been there from the jump. You've been there from the jump. And there's one thing about Matt that I could say is that man is resilient. This man is dedicated. This man has his eyes on the prize. It doesn't matter if one person is watching, two people are watching, if nobody's watching. Matt's gonna get he's gonna get his content out, and you've had great success with it so far. Like it's you know you're something to admire, bro. Like you just keep on going. You've been feeding the engine, and I I'm admired by it, bro. Like I admire you, and I am so happy to be part of this. So happy to be part of this with you, man. It was about time. It was about time. I feel like it was time coming that we were gonna do something good, and now it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big, bro.
You are so kind, Dolo. Thank you. And one of the things I recognize you, not only your talent, genuine spirit, but your work ethic as well, despite any obstacle that comes your way, you're still grinding it out. And now
Thank
that
you, bro.
the best thing to come from this, now I've done this is show 161. We've interviewed over 100 people. And I feel like there's been like a solid 10 to 20 people who said they were coming on and didn't, dropped out for whatever reason. So bottom line, I've dealt with so many different people the last closing in on 2 years, I guess technically 3 years of doing this show, October 20th, 2020.
Long
And
time.
you by far have the best work ethic and person I could trust in now that I'm starting to expand the show more. And ultimately, this podcast, I want it to be a podcast network where we compete with people and organizations like Barstool, John Boy, The Ringer, Nerdist Podcasts, anything HBO Max is doing, their podcast and network, Team Coco. And we want to join that sphere. It's going to take a long time, many years, but I truly trust that as you as my first partner in this, you'll actually be with me through all of it. Like you wouldn't mind me talking to you almost every day with this, and you talk with me with your ideas. And as we grow this network, the goal is by our late 30s, we do our professionals and get paid for it full time. And what's going to make us stick out in the working title of the Productive Nation Podcasting Network, the Productive Nation Podcasting Network, we are a diverse group of sports, news, and entertainment culture. We want to develop and bring in hosts that provide that from all backgrounds and not only all ethnic backgrounds, not only all races, not only all wealth and class. We are a group of people that entertain, inform, and inspire through all types of genres and media. And that's what we're starting here today. Or that was my initial goal when I started this podcast. And now that you're my first partner in this, we're going for it. It's going to take a solid 10 years, but we're going to try to do it sooner. But in the end, we get to have a trusted audience, aka also the Productive Nation that is with us, where
Right.
again, we provide information and bring joy. And then we also just give platforms to so many talented artists, so many talented podcasters, and so many talented individuals that may not necessarily have had that at first in terms
Right.
of the opportunities they can have. So ultimately, Productive Conversations Podcast and the Productive Nation takes a big leap today as you are the first person joining me on this journey as we are a partnership together. And we're going to help make sure that productive conversations, no matter what the subject is, will always be heard through all different types of people and heard by so many different types of people. That's what we're doing here today and beyond that. So you
That's
ready
a
to do
fact.
this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was gonna say, did you make that announcement that you were gonna turn this into a network?
No, this is the first time I've ever said it publicly on a forum. I've said it to, people here and there, and anyone I'm on a date with just seem cooler. But no, I've never sent it out, told our listeners that. But this is ultimately what I think is the purpose of this show, that it branches out to so many other people. And that's our mission starting here today.
See, one thing I noticed when you were saying that, you were saying, like we're shooting for the stars, man. That's what I'm realizing. Like, you didn't say, oh, I want to be like Adam Schultz and Flagrant. You didn't say I want to be like Mike Tyson and hotboxing. You didn't say I want to be like Joe Rogan in his
Yeah.
podcast. No, you said Barstool. We're gonna make this Barstool Sports, the Ringer, like better, greater. You know, it's different, man. The way you're thinking about it is different, man. It's gonna become a reality. We're gonna have there's definitely gonna be some new content. I definitely got some ideas of content I want to shoot your way. But on
All
and off
right.
camera we could do that. But yeah, bro, like we definitely, I feel like eventually we got to get in them streets, man. You know, talk to the people, kind of like how the Bronx Zoo does. Like, you know,
Yeah.
shout out Jake from the Bronx Zoo.
Shout out
Oh,
Jay from the Bronx Zoo for sure.
he's
Yes.
yo, he be out there, bro. Like he's really out there, you know, interacting with the people. I respect that. I respect that.
Yeah. And that's what we're going to start doing now is getting in contact and showing our worth from this. There's 161 shows as of today. There's a lot of content to show off now. And that shows that
Absolutely.
we're really in this for the long run. And
The catalog is there.
yeah, and we're only going to keep growing that catalog more and more. And as we both develop this journey, we're not going to emulate. We're not the next Joe Rogan. We're not the next Bill Simmons. We're not the next this, that, and the other, not the next Alex Cooper. We're the next us. We develop our own brand. And I really believe that we have the authenticity to compete with those other networks while developing our own brand. And most importantly, giving something meaningful, productive, and special to our audience.
That's a fact, man. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
For sure,
Like,
man. Absolutely. I really believe in my heart, and I will spend every single day, as long as I'm breathing, to make sure we hit that goal.
Matt, I was gonna ask you, I don't know if I ever asked you this before, but you personally, what podcasts do you watch when you're not doing your own or in your own free time?
That's a great question, Dolo, because well, I literally spend my entire day with headphones on and before bed listening to something. So it's a mixture of both radio and podcasts. So I would have to say, let's say my Mount Rushmore: Howard Stern, Conan O'Brien, Team Coco, Bill Simmons, and Joe Rogan, as in podcasters. My Mount Rushmore. Well, Howard Stern is satellite radio too. So
Howard Stern's a wild boy. He's definitely
yeah,
a wild boy.
Actually, let's take that back. It's more than just because it's more than just a Mount Rushmore. Those four individuals for sure: Stern, Simmons, Conan, and Rogan to start. I love WFAN radio dearly. I love Boomer and Geo, Cardin and Roberts. I like Keith McPherson. I like listening to Al and Jerry Recco and Al Dukes. I like listening to Salicata. I really like Kim Jones. The classics, Mike and the Mad Dog, are everything. And I listen to both them individually. Mike Fritz is a podcaster now. Mad Dog's on Sirius Satellite Radio. Jesus and Miro was a big listener, but they recently broke up, as you know. So
they did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's too bad, but hopefully they return again. Mark Maron is a major influence of mine as well. And pretty much I like Quentin Tarantino's new film podcast, a Lights Camera Barstool, and how can I forget? Pardon My Take is a major influence to me as well. Yeah, Joey Diaz is great. Bill Burr, Burt Kreischer, Wendy Williams is really good. I listen to a lot of people. Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee. Like, did I forget anyone? I'm literally looking at my wall to remind me. Andy Cohen's
funny
really
you
good.
said Wendy Williams, because have you seen pictures of Wendy Williams recently?
Did I say Wendy Williams?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, why?
Yo, she looks crazy ever since
Wendy Williams has been she's been going
she's a
off
legend.
the deep end. She is definitely a legend. Awesome daytime talk show. God, why am I forget? I shouldn't forget because it's one of the people I listen to, but I shouldn't listen to. I don't listen enough clearly to forget her name.
Right.
I'm
trying to think for you. I think I know who you're gonna bring up too, but I just can't think of the name.
Yeah, but it'll come back to me. But everything else besides Wendy, who I'm blanking on, I listen to them all regularly and a lot. And
Bobby Lee has a podcast too,
yeah,
right?
he's really good. I like him and Andrew Santino. Andrew Santino, Whiskey Ginger, another good one. I mean, go off the charts. When Joey Diaz,
Oh my God, Joey Diaz is awesome, yo. That man
Uncle
is
Joey's
incredible.
joint.
Yo, imagine chilling with Joey Diaz, bro. That would be awesome.
That's a dream podcast right there. What's up, fucking
Yo,
cocksuckers? Yo, man,
yo.
take today's days by the balls, or something like that.
All that motivation, Nah,
Yeah,
but
and
his stories, it seems like he has like 1,000 stories. I'm not gonna lie.
he's lived a life. He's lived a life. And yeah, so those are great. Scott Van Pelt's also really good. SVP's podcast, even though he's not a podcast, just a huge David Letterman influenced by. But it literally that answer. That's who I literally just listed every single podcast. To Pete Holmes. How could I forget Pete Holmes too? You Made It Weird podcast. So you see, I'm all over the place. I've literally named you every single one of my favorite podcasts, condensed them into 4 people. That probably can change every day, with the exception of Stern and Conan being moved. This is my true Mount Rushmore. If I had 4 people to listen to, 4 shows, either radio or TV, be Mike and the Mad Dog, Conan, Howard Stern, part of my take. Those are my ultimate Mount Rushmore, with the next tier being Bill Simmons and Mark Maron and Pete Holmes and Joe Rogan after that. So it's tough, man. As you see, I love the medium, and I like adding my own twist and my own perspective into the podcasting world, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, you definitely got. I've known of it previously, but I know you've had a lot of radio influences on you, like a lot of radio hosts and a lot of radio shows that you used to watch and has inspired you to do this.
And I'll continue with that. Now I'd like to, of course, ask you the same question. What podcasts are you listening to, my dude?
Well, I was just gonna get into that too. Like, I'd say like, it's funny thing is I don't have Spotify. I probably should. I probably should have Spotify, but like all my podcasts that I listen to are usually on YouTube.
Right.
Nowadays, I mean, I guess the difference between you and me is, you've been influenced a lot by radio and certain other types of mediums like TV and all those things and things of that matter. But I think for me, a lot of my inspirations come from, well, nowadays, definitely just content creators in general. I guess that would just be a blanket statement, but I spend a lot of time watching YouTubers and stuff, and studying the scene. I've been studying the scene of YouTube for years, so to make content is a blessing. That's one thing for sure. I say off rip. Like,
Definitely.
I'd say nowadays though, I like Flagrant. Yeah, you watch Flagrant. It used to be called Flagrant too, with Andrew Schultz.
I know Andrew Schultz. I'm a big Andrew Schultz fan, but I haven't heard. Is that what his show is called? Flagrant?
It's called Flagrant. It used to be
Theo
called
Vaughn's
Flagrant
really good too. Another show I like.
Yo, Theo Vaughn is a wild boy. He definitely wild boy too.
And Bill Maher been listening to. I feel like that's my transition to real adulthood. I've been a big Bill Maher Club Random podcast, listening to his podcast.
Bill Maher, I gotta listen to his
Yeah,
podcast.
he's a show. He's like a big He's the
bald guy, right?
Somewhat, not really. I'll show you a picture of him. But he has a show called Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO. And he's just been a huge left wing, but he's a comedian. He's not a Fox News MSNBC correspondent. He's very into politics, but he's more of a comedian and commentator. I want to make that clear.
I think I'm thinking of Bill Barr. Or Bill Burr or something like
Bill
that.
Burr. Yeah, Bill Burr's very popular. I love him, and I like his podcast. Monday Morning Podcast is good. This is Bill Maher's. I show for the people on YouTube could see.
But do. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, definitely. He actually had an episode on Mike Tyson's podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike Tyson brought him on his, so that shows his influence, and I like his perspective on the world.
Yeah, that's another podcast I like. I like Hotboxing with Mike Tyson.
Hotboxing with Mike Tyson. What do you think of?
My bad. Go ahead.
I was gonna also, but definitely finish your thought after just No Jumper. What do you think of No Jumper?
Oh yeah, we talked about No Jumper before. We've talked about No Jumper.
Like those are some of the most wild guests I've ever seen. No Jumper.
No, definitely. They got a real West Coast influence on what they got going on.
Hmm.
Um, I,
Great podcasting voice too.
oh, absolutely. Like
Even though I know he's been accused for some crazy shit, great podcasting voice.
oh, Adam 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's a little eccentric, I guess. Like I always kind of thought he was corny, but
Hmm.
to be real with you, like that guy is the man, bro. Like that guy makes it happen. Like and he's been in the scene for a little while too. He's been in that LA area for a long time.
Yeah.
Like he gave Triple X XX Tentacion his first interview. He gave Lil Pump this first interview.
Lil Pump.
Yeah, like all these SoundCloud rappers, like it's like
Yeah.
Adam had a part of that. No Jumper is, to be real with you, it could be up and down at times. Sometimes it's boring, but sometimes it's very, very entertaining. Um, they got this pimp dude on there. Forgot his name.
Like a legit pimp.
Yeah, like he was a legit pimp, and he'd be going off on OnlyFans models. Like he's like a no tolerance kind of person.
Really?
Uh, they have very, very interesting Sharp. That's his name, Sharp. This guy Sharp.
All
You
right.
should look out for Sharp on No Jumper. Real interesting dude. Um, I would say No Jumper. It's in a good space right now. It's in a good space. But
Okay.
they got to be careful with one thing about doing podcasts and stuff, like, or just doing content, like especially when it comes to hip hop and things of that nature. um you really got to be careful when there'll be you'll see a lot of gang members on No Jumper and stuff. You really got to be
Hmm.
careful mixing yourself in with that stuff. It could go left one day. I'm not saying it will, but it takes takes a certain type of crew and certain type of people to.
Yeah. Pay attention to the company you keep.
Exactly, yeah. So like it almost seems like they always have these people coming in all the time, but they make good content, bro. They make good content.
Hmm.
I do like No Jumper. I also I'd say also in that same realm, there's a podcast called $1,000,000 Worth of Game with Gilly the Kid and Wallow.
Really?
Um, yeah, Gilly the Kid was a rapper. He used to beef with Lil Wayne.
Oh
I think
yeah.
he wrote Lil Wayne's he wrote the Carter too. Like he wrote the like verses and all
Okay.
that stuff for Wayne.
What makes those two stick out as a podcast?
I'd say these are guys that like well, to speak about Gilly, he's someone that's been from the mixtape scene. Like he was putting out mixtapes, trying to be a rapper. Like he wasn't trying, he was a rapper. He was from Philly, he was on the mixtape scene. You remember back in the day when you could just when DJs used to just put out a lot of mixtapes,
Oh yeah.
and
What was that
like
website with the mixtapes you can download? Um,
datpiff.com,
datpiff.com.
and then there's my
What is the
mixtapes.
And
Like
then there was hotnewhiphop.com too. As
yeah,
long
I
as it
still
didn't give you
actually
as long as it didn't give you a virus. But yeah, I used to really get music in unique ways, but honestly, because of Spotify and YouTube, no reason to go crazy. And I used to go to the Norwalk Library and no joke, like take out 20 CDs, burn all that shit on my iTunes and create my big ass playlist
I'll say where you used to burn CDs at the library.
all the time. Shouts to the library.
No, yo, the library was lit, bro. Like we used to have a computer in our house growing up, like in high
Mhm.
school and all that. Um, it just wasn't a good computer, so like it would just always freeze. It'd always be slow.
Oh, that's the
But
worst.
so I would go to the library instead, and I would spend hours at the library just down. I guess I would do the same thing, but
Yeah, right.
I would more so plug in like my iPod, and then I'd be like, all right, I'm about to download as much music as I can in this 2 or 3 hour um session I got. But the sessions will only last for an hour. You can only be at the time you could only be at the computer for like an hour. I think nowadays you could be on any computer for whatever length of time. But back then it was only like 1 hour timed sessions, and I used to go to the library, probably the same one, the Norwalk Public Library uptown, not South Norwalk.
Yeah, that's the only one I usually went to.
I hear you. Yeah, that's the one I used to go to too. Used to download like new Lupe Fiasco songs.
Lupe Fiasco. Remember what was that
Uh,
song? Words I Never Had. That shit goes hard. Superstar. Or Words I Never Said.
Superstar. Superstar was a good song. I don't think I heard Words I Never Said. I probably have. I haven't listened to too much of his new stuff.
Me
But
neither. Yeah, rappers really. Some rappers really do come and go. I mean, any musician really.
bro, it's one thing about like being from this area. Um, growing up in high school, I like in middle school and even in elementary school. There was a lot of people that came from New York that would go to school over here,
That's right.
and there was a I guess there was a heavy East Coast influence. We are on the East Coast, but it was a heavy like New York underground music scene influence almost. Like
For
I would
sure. And
go,
definitely culture wise too.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would be at the library downloading new Dipset songs, like
Dipset.
D Block, what else? Just like Nas, like downloading, all his like Illmatic, like Stillmatic,
Mm-hmm.
all those old albums, even some Jay-Z, but now I would literally be on datpiff.com. I would be on Hot New Hip Hop. I still go on Hot New Hip
I
Hop
knew
to
him.
be
I
honest.
didn't even know it still existed.
It does. It's actually not a bad website. Um, I also, oh man, there's a lot of good times at the library. I used to also, there's this website called nicekicks.com. Um, I would go to the library and like look at sneakers all day. The library was like a home for me at one point, bro.
Same
I
here,
almost
man.
did. I'll be honest. I did pretty much everything but read books at the library.
I've
To be honest.
appreciated reading more as I gotten older. I
Me
like
too.
reading now. But yeah, back then I just I read in on the screen, but now I will read books and I get better influences that way.
Oh no, no, me too. I can concur with that. Uh, I guess I always been a writer though. So people that write a lot, I think they sometimes have an ego. Like even people that make music, like yeah, they might listen to a lot of artists or a
Mm-hmm.
person that writes. They might know a lot of authors or people that used to like Shakespeare's, like people that used to make
Shakespeare.
plays and stuff. You're like, nah, for real though.
No,
Like
for real. No, absolutely. You notice how all these little things all influence each other.
yeah, absolutely.
Literature, from literature to nonfiction to all these things. That's where we get inspired and little names here and there, which makes me fascinating. Like, Atari.
Like the video game.
Yeah, that was named after like this very old-fashioned video game, board game, a move in Japan, if I am getting that right. But little things getting influence there. A lot of titles from movies and TV come from poems. Like, you ever heard of a movie called No Country for Old Men? I know that's from a literal poem. Um, all this, I that fascinates me
Oh,
how things get
absolutely.
influenced.
No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Even being in school, reading stuff like Macbeth, like The Color Purple, like all these things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, like a writer would know about all these things, like and all these authors and all this material. But there's almost like a ego there. There's like an ego there. I used to like back in those days when I would hit the library and as a kid, like I wanted to be a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually I wanted to be a boxer and I would train, during high school and middle school. But like I always wanted to be a rapper when I was younger. So like I used to write. I used to write rhymes and stuff. I used to like download music at the library, even download beats. I download beats and go back home, write something, or try to be like on my rapper type time. But like I never like I don't, for some reason I just felt like I was like better than reading books. That's so dumb to think like
Hey,
that.
it's
And
never
then when
too
you get
late to
older,
still do those passions too. And I know what you mean. I don't mean to interrupt your point, but keep
you
going with that.
no, you're good. You're good. Like and like you said just now before, as you get older, you start to realize how important some of this material is. Like like I've done the same thing. I've read more things and I guess acclimated myself with more kind of material as such as that. different books, different novels. Um, One thing about passion, when you have passion, I think it only grows. If it's true
Yeah.
passion, it only grows, and you find different avenues and different ways to try to further that passion, or try to learn more about it and delve deeper into it. And it's just natural progression,
And you
So like,
appreciate the other people's passion for that as well.
oh yeah, absolutely. With all this said, I wish I read more books at the library, but
Mhm.
there was also a lot of crazy stuff that was happening at the library, like
Like what?
like
And wait,
like
before we get into those stories, though, you agree though, still never too late to put these passion to grow these passions more. And we're still all we are both still very young. And having said that, appreciate your library because you're gonna unlock even more potential with it.
absolutely. To a certain degree, I think I think I think when you always have that passion, when you have a passion for something,
Mhm.
usually doesn't go away. And I guess you're right, as long as you still have breath in your lungs, you can really make anything happen, especially nowadays. Uh, but I would say, as far as like rapping, I'm, I was kind of bad. Like, I wrote good lyrics, but I was not a good rapper. It was two different things.
Yeah,
Um,
learning the flow, learning the storytelling aspect, I'm sure, creating your own voice, all that.
yeah, I wasn't the very best at being a rapper. It's kind of weird, but um I think there's definitely, as far as music, I think there is a cutoff age. As far as like rapping and stuff, it's like let's be honest. I mean, there's definitely a market for people that like to listen to more mature music. Even if it's still kind of like, hints of violence and stuff like that. Like, for example, Benny the Butcher is a good rapper that, people, I guess you would say 90s babies would listen to. I guess you would say 90s babies would be more inclined to listen to. Uh, and there's other rappers, I guess, that just stand the test of time. But for the most part, I don't really think no one wants to hear like a 32-year-old, 34-year-old dude talking about he's still in the streets. Like, that's kind of a bad look at that point. Like, damn, bro, you still rapping about the street? You still in the streets? Like, what? Like, holy, you might as well just move on. But I
I
mean, as a passion, one thing about passion, not to interrupt you, but like, I think Jay-Z said it one time. He said it on the Breakfast Club. Oh, I love the Breakfast Club.
Yes, Charlemagne, all of them also very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think he said on the Breakfast Club one time, he said that uh if people, they complain about being artists and not being heard or not getting anywhere with it, or such and such, right? But if you love music, you will do it for free.
Yeah, I know,
and
I feel that. I definitely
and
feel that.
and it's coming from Jay-Z, someone that's made the most money off of
Yeah,
rap
right.
music.
But take
It's
that to
ironic.
account. But
Like, yeah, no, hell yeah.
at the same time, though, the point is just being holding yourself to a discipline. Like I think that's one thing that makes me do these shows more. Sure, as we continue to grow this audience and trying to get more numbers, I think the only person who knows if I'm not putting stuff out there is me. So I need to hold myself accountable when it comes to that stuff. And that's where it becomes fun and meaningful. And look at us here doing that,
Hell yeah, bro. And he was definitely right about that. Um, when you got a passion, you're just gonna do it anyway.
right?
You're gonna do it
That's the
anyway.
point. That is for the people who truly have the passion for what they want, no matter
Right.
what it is, podcasting, music, art, athletics, OnlyFans. As long as you're passionate, you'll be able to do it, right?
He said OnlyFans. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you do gotta be a little passionate to be OnlyFans. Like, what, bro, what an era we live in, bro. What an era we live in. It's
In
just
terms
crazy.
of content creation.
In terms of content,
Oh yeah.
in terms of like culture, in terms
We're so
of,
lucky. Imagine if we were born 80 years ago.
yeah, that would be crazy. Like I was actually I was I was
We are very, very blessed in that, and to be in this era to do this.
no, absolutely. And it's just it could be sometimes. I, in my opinion, it's mostly a good thing, but it could definitely be sometimes a crazy and bad thing. Like there's definitely it definitely feels like I don't know. Before it used to be just TV and radio, uh, and it almost seems like nothing was really censored. Like for example, Howard Stern was just off the wall. Like
I
every show
mean,
he ever
yeah,
did was off the
in
wall.
terms
But
of the FCC was bad with the censoring, they fined it, but I
no,
guess to take risks to do that, yeah.
I don't. I wouldn't say like it's a bad thing. Like yo, like these are the pioneers, people that we look
Oh
up
yeah,
to, you
yeah, yeah.
know, and they came out raw, just raw dogging it. Just comes
No matter what
hopping straight off.
obstacles came, they still did come with that raw energy. This is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like it, it's just it wasn't like a narrative that was controlling content back then.
No.
Um, everyone just had their own thing going on. Like even DJ K-Slay, he used to a DJ from New York on his show. He used to get really crazy.
Hmm.
Like it just like these radio shows back then were kind of crazy. But then
Yeah, you
I
don't have
guess
a lot of shock jocks anymore like that. It's
yeah, that
all
was my point. Yeah, like
it,
I think in this era, just it's just like it almost seems like there's a narrative that controls a lot of that stuff, and then the people that are doing it kind of get like ousted. Maybe for some good, maybe for some bad, but it definitely seems like the content. There's a lot more content nowadays, but it just seems like the narrative has just gotten stronger, and it's like you almost have to like what does Andrew Tate call it? The Matrix. You almost got to like kind of sink in with the Matrix.
red pill versus blue pill. What reality is the one that's the true one, and which one's getting influence?
Something to that nature. Something to that nature. I think he would refer to the whole cancel culture kind of overhead mystery committee that runs it. Whoever's the one canceling people. Um, I think he called it the Matrix. Yeah, he referred to them as the Matrix because it's
Yeah,
almost like
Andrew Tate recently canceled himself though. Um,
yeah. Let's talk about that.
they talked about, what I have to say with Andrew Tate. I'm not too familiar with him. I know that he does have an influence. Um, he while he does promote confidence and having a better self-esteem, there have been some critics that he also promotes toxic masculinity, and there's also people who he does have some very questionable quotes at the same time.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not that familiar with him, so um my brother um definitely likes his content, but I just need to look more into what he actually said to see if people if it's justified for him getting kicked off. That's for me. But for you, who is a fan of Andrew Tate, why don't you tell us your perspective, even with all this controversy surrounding him?
I just want to make it clear I am not part of the Tate University. I do not pay
It's
fifty
called the
dollars a
Tate
month.
University.
Yeah, I do not pay $50 a month for lectures from Andrew Tate. Uh, I'm not part of that whole kind of circle, but yeah, I would say I'm a fan of Top G, my guy Top G. Like what I like about him, I mean, forget the message, right? Forget like the toxic masculinity, the saying, his advice on relationships and marriage and all these things. Uh put that to the side for a second. The man is I mean, well, now he's banned from everything, which I'm gonna ask you about in a second, but
Mm-hmm.
the man popped up out of literally nowhere. I guess he was actually a kickboxing champion uh a few years ago. I think I don't know why he stopped kickboxing, but he did hold a belt in K1, I think, which is a pretty predominant kickboxing organization. I
Mhm.
could be wrong. I don't know if it's K1, but he was what do you call that? Cream of the crop. Yeah, he was like the cream of the crop of kickboxers for a little while. He was in that.
Okay.
He was in that elite kind of group. Once you get a belt, it's kind of like that. But
Yeah.
the man just is just everywhere. Like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Uh, and the funny thing is, he said one time, he's like, you see, I've been also Twitch. He's also been collaborating with Twitch streamers.
Mhm.
Regardless of what you think about him, his hand is in every cookie jar. He had a message, he wanted to put it out, he had a vision, and he put it out there. Um, I believe he said one time, he said he doesn't have an official Instagram page. He never did. Like it's people that make these pages for him, probably people that pay the $50 a month, right? But to hear him talk, which is kind of crazy. Like I don't know, that it kind of seems pyramid schemish, you know.
Yeah. Again, with him, if he is as influential as they say they will, this dude will be able to do his own thing, make his own website, and have the fans come and find him. And
I was gonna ask you about that. What do you like, just in general, uh the power of these companies to just oust you for whatever reason they choose?
yeah, on a
Because
mainstream
there's
level,
absolutely worse people that are allowed to be on these platforms for sure. If they're not bad people now, then they've done bad things before, and it just hasn't come to light for sure. We could go down the list, even if it doesn't pop up right on our head. There's absolutely people that probably should be ousted as well. But it's
right?
like, what do you think about that? What do you think about the ability of these companies to just silence someone that they don't like?
Well, cancel culture is real. It is a case by case situation, every single case.
Right.
Listen, if it goes back to our talk about how passionate you are to spread something.
Mm.
Also, don't mess up your opportunities as well. If you get on a mainstream platform, that's an honor. You can't take that for granted.
Not at
So
all.
I would say just be careful what you say. You can always make your message out there without being offensive and bringing someone down. What could I say? With so much money in the world, these private corporations and conglomerates can do whatever the heck they want. And ultimately, if you're popular enough to still be influential by yourself, you'll still have your audience and loyal fans that will still find you. So with that, don't be afraid of cancel culture, but also don't think you're invincible because you're also easily replaceable. So be aware of that as well.
Don't sabotage yourself over your ego. I hear that.
100%. And with that, I would say still go for the highest marks. Go make yourself something. Just don't do something stupid or show some true colors to get yourself kicked off of major platforms like YouTube and Instagram and Twitter.
Don't show your true colors.
If you're in the sense, what I mean by that is if you really have these awful thoughts about people's society, don't even bother putting your content out there because you might as you're asking to not be liked. Appreciate what you do. Understand that you can always bring out your message without being an asshole about it. And yeah, so if you are truly a terrible person, I really think that'll come out one way or the other. Just don't be and make good decisions so you don't get canceled. That's what I
Matt,
have to
check.
say.
I like everything you just said, man. But check this out.
Hmm.
Um, you remember Bill O'Reilly?
Bill O'Reilly, yes,
Yeah, that weirdo.
from Fox
He,
News.
yeah, that guy. He
Yeah, he's had some
did.
bad allegations against him, some very bad sexual misconduct.
Yeah, hell yeah, I've heard the same things. Like I'm not even really. I'm not too familiar with everything he got going on, but
Hmm.
I only bring it up. I only bring it up because the rapper Cameron from Dipset,
Yep.
uh, the guy that made Dipset, he he did an interview with Bill O'Reilly like early 2000s. I forgot when, maybe around the time Hey Ma or Old Boy came out. I think
Yeah.
somewhere at that time.
And we can another night.
Yeah, yeah, hell, that song is a classic. Um, Bill O'Reilly got him on the show with Dame Dash. They did like a three-way interview, I guess, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Bill O'Reilly was interviewing them, and Bill O'Reilly asked Cameron. Well, they call him Killer, so I usually say Killer. Like, he asked Killer. He said why. He said, why do you make this music, the violent music that you make, and all this drugs and gang stuff that you talk about? Why do you put it out knowing that kids are going to listen to it? Why do you put this out knowing that youth the youth are going to be influenced by this kind of talk, by these kind of lyrics, by this kind of lifestyle? Don't you think you're a negative role model? um and Cameron says something that I never forgot. He said, listen, I'm a rapper, my name is Killer, whatever. I'm not rapping for kids. This music is not for kids. Our albums say explicit content, yada yada, parental advisory. It's all on the albums. It's up to the parents to show their kids that this is just music. You shouldn't take this completely literally.
Yeah.
He pretty much said it's not my fault that kids are listening to me. It's the parents' fault. You have to. It starts at home, and it was pretty philosophical, almost, like in a sense. Him saying this on a show like that, that's being completely transparent and honest. Like, maybe philosophical is the wrong word, but it was interesting to hear his take, because, mind you, this is someone that's still popular in the culture. He gets clown. I guess they make fun of Cameron a little bit, but he's still someone that's a great figure in hip hop culture. Uh, his sentiments, that I don't feel like his sentiments there really resonate with, I guess, with cancel culture. I guess the point of cancel culture is to get someone out of here so that so that they don't influence the youth, so that they don't influence uh certain minds and certain people and children and all that stuff. Uh, for some reason, they look at it different. It's like, oh, like, they kind of see it like as Bill. Cancel cultures, like, they kind of have the same. They would more so agree with Bill O'Reilly, which is the most ironic thing in the world. Uh, because he was saying, you're spewing all this negative stuff, and people are listening to it, and they're taking it in and being influenced by it. Uh, Now it's just like, if you get what I'm saying, like, it seems like it almost doesn't make sense sometimes. It almost
Yeah.
doesn't make.
Everyone's an individual at the end of the day. If anyone is dumb enough to believe that music is ordering you, that a movie is ordering you, that a poem or novel is ordering you to do these heinous acts, then come on. We need to
Yeah, it's
reevaluate what we're
ridiculous.
doing here.
It's ridiculous, and that's my point with Andrew Tate. If you think it's Andrew Tate's fault that people are like becoming womanizers, or you think people are being rude or disrespectful, or it's creating incels or whatever they say, right? Like, it's kind of ridiculous, because there's really the only difference between Andrew Tate and a Cameron is just one does music and one does, I guess,
Talk.
talk. Yeah. Like, there's almost no different. Like, obviously they don't have the same messages, but you shouldn't just be trying to get people out of here. That's my opinion, and it's based off of what Killer was saying. You shouldn't just be trying to get people out of here because certain people are influenced by them. It's not their responsibility. It's not completely their fault. Like, it's almost not their fault at all. It really does start at the home, and that's what I believe. Um, obviously if someone's saying like, yo, go shoot up a school, or go overthrow the government, or go destroy property, and go cause chaos, or go do whatever, if it's straight up heinous stuff, then absolutely, yeah, of course, like get them off the platform, but as far as entertainers, as far as people that do podcast stuff, like, I don't know, it just seems like I was saying before, back in the days of radio and all these TV shows, it just seemed like there wasn't this big cloud of, I guess you would say, judgment that would just strike
Yeah,
you
there was no
down
social
and get you out
media
of here.
for people to express their opinions right away. It was more
Right,
just columnists in newspapers and people talking amongst themselves. But now everybody's a critic because of social media. And
right,
yeah, in my opinion, again, I don't know too much of the Andrew Tate situation, and I haven't read all of his quotes or heard him. So I'm gonna go on the fact that I need to hear both sides of the argument to make my own personal opinion. But at the end of the day, and if we could bring this back, is that we are our own individuals to make our decisions, not take things too literally, and not it's okay to listen to things that you don't agree with. In fact, I would encourage you to listen to things and people you don't agree with. Obviously, don't do the most extreme examples,
right.
and just hear both sides out and make your own opinion and understand that everyone's valid, even in a time where we feel some people are too much this way, some people are too sensitive in that way. Let's just be adults with common sense and hear all aspects of this. And that's
Right.
my
And
opinion into this whole cancel culture and Andrew Tate. And now that we are, it's a solid 5 years since the Me Too movement started, and which was very important and needed, especially for women, which also began this quote unquote world of cancel culture. And cancel culture has been both good and bad for society. There are good, terrible people who need to be justified and held accountable for the heinous actions and got canceled for
oh
the
yeah,
right reason.
oh yeah,
Your Harvey Weinsteins and all that. But then there's also situations maybe in Aziz Ansari where we need more time to evaluate the situation, hear both sides before we jump to conclusions. So this isn't going away. And sometimes I'll always talk about everything, but even the cancel culture is a bit redundant because of all these, because we're all just going through a big circle. And then, as my great grandma Lola would say, just always make good decisions so you avoid putting yourself in a position to get cult to have yourself get canceled and ruin your reputation, your family's reputation, and all of that.
yeah. It's like, don't do something like obviously stupid that's gonna, take your career path on a whole nother trajectory, a
Yeah.
bad one.
And you could
I hear
always
that.
say your opinion and point of view without saying some really, really heinous things that's associated with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, I don't know if you know, a lot of like YouTube drama that's been going on in the past like year or so, even past 2 or 3 years.
In terms of
Um,
what?
in terms of people getting popular and people not liking them, almost kind of like an Andrew Tate thing, but just in general. I'll use an example. There is there's a podcast called H3H3.
Oh,
Well,
I
it's
know
it's
those
a
guys.
yeah,
I've
the
heard of them.
production company. Um, like Ethan Klein and his wife, they go up there and they talk, and they mostly talk like liberal kind of talk points, and like they don't even really straddle a line. They just kind of, they're pretty much like talking crap about like
Yeah,
other
they
people
react
that
to
are on the other
videos
side.
all across the internet. They react to videos across the internet.
Yeah, yeah, and they've been around for a long time. Now the thing is, they recently got into a beef with a YouTuber named Gideon. Some young dude that's like literally 20 years old, has like 5 million subscribers. Um, he's crazy. Like he definitely is crazy. He's a prankster. I'll send you some videos of him later. This guy
Right.
Gideon. He made a video. Mind you, this is a black man. He made a video called "Going to the Most Racist Town in America," and I guess
Oh yeah.
like yeah, and he was kind of like on some. He's pretty much on like Nelk Boys kind of time, like that type of time. Uh, he went there with like a wife beater, like some baggy ass pants, and just went to like the Walmart in some racist town, and I don't know, forgot where exactly. But in the video, he's pranking people and messing with them like he always does, and it's hilarious. But like he's not getting the reactions that he thought he would, and that was kind of the point of him putting out the video. Like
And so he went see. So he's trying to
he's
inherit these
baiting
stereotypes, bait these
right.
people, and what did he say was the most racist town in America? Do you remember?
I could look it up on my phone. I forgot what town it was, but it's somewhere down south. Um,
Okay.
so like pretty much he he almost like exposed like I guess what people think about this certain town or this certain area as maybe not to be straight correct. You know, um like the generalization of it. Uh, in the video, he's pranking people and messing with people, you know, giving reasons for people to be like kind of like annoyed by him, but he's not getting these racist reactions. And it's like he's in Walmart messing with like all type of people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just not happening, you know. And he even interviews the Ku Klux Klan leader. Like it was some weird. It was so funny. Like it was really a very funny video. Um, but pretty much H3 they have a problem with him right now because they didn't approve of him going to a racist town, and they're like, oh, like you're you're doing irresponsible content, you know, content you're doing is irresponsible. You know, you're kind of you're trying to make it seem like it's this way when it's not. Like, you know, like there's real problems with racism, and you need to like you need to fix your content, pretty much is what they're telling Gideon. They eventually had an interview together and they talked about it. But
Interesting.
my point of saying this is that H3, he used to do really like when he came into the scene, he used to do wild content. He wasn't like some guy that just like was on like a liberal side or whatever and just was like kind of like part of the cancel culture. Like he's part of cancel culture now almost. Like and it's happened with a few YouTubers. It's older YouTubers that'll hate on the younger YouTubers for doing like what they would say stupid content or like irresponsible content. But
Mm-hmm.
these same older YouTubers, like these guys, and there's more than just H3, like there's these guys came into YouTube because you know YouTube 10 years ago, even well 10-12 years ago was a completely different place.
Yeah, we've gone far from people doing cat videos and shoes. Oh my God, shoes to
Yeah.
people expressing how they feel about social justice, which is good and important, but also um people who are given what I mean by that is we've gone from people just entertaining to more people commenting on the world and giving political opinions. And
Oh
that's,
yeah.
that's not all of YouTube. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. That can also be very entertaining content as well. But it seems we stripped away our innocence and it's a little more tense for some people, at least some people who
Yeah.
choose to go down that path.
Yeah, absolutely. These older YouTubers, these guys that were doing edgy, like you could almost call some of it like a little racist content, you know, like edgy, crazy, off the wall, like definitely not on the straight line content. Now that they're older, now that they're more established, they've kind of it's a thing that's going on YouTube. They're kind of shunning these newer YouTubers that were doing the exact same thing they were doing to get popular.
So you want to talk about the contradictions for some YouTubers, I
That's
see.
literally what it is. That's like, you
So
know,
yeah,
and there's a lot of it going
people
on.
there have been no matter what the medium is, radio, TV, YouTube, streaming. They're having people who have felt that they needed to be extreme to get viewership. Even Howard Stern was like that. He did some crazy stuff,
Yeah.
calling his program director Pig Virus and having on-air fights with him and putting that on the air, or like simulating sex scenes on the air at 8 in the morning in New York City and stuff. Well, what do you think? Of course, if you're going to be that crazy to and obscene, people are going to watch more than just,
Absolutely.
maybe someone giving their favorite recipes out, top 10 uh, ways to bake cookies. So
Right.
listen, if you are that type of person to do crazy things and you will stay that way, do it. Do whatever you need to do as long as no one gets hurt, or as long as no one gets hurt getting making your content. And for all I have to say, those people put their 2 cents, well, who gives a shit? Just be happy you have a following, H3H3. Let them go through the ringer. Let them learn lessons the hard way. I mean, sure, I guess their heart's in the right place, but people are just doing what they feel they need to do to go viral. And I won't. I mean, some are absolutely absurd and stupid and annoying. Like, who was that dude I showed you, the TikToker who will just like, the Latino guy who with that girl who will just like go up to somebody and eat all their food like crazy, or pick fights. What's that guy's
I
name?
forgot his name was like J.K. Youngin or something. You sent me it before.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Um.
Jay kind of funny. Jay kind of funny.
Now, when you see stuff like that, and this dude's getting millions and millions, I get the resentment. But he's the one who actually done that, and he's done what he had to do to get his name out there. But maybe in the end, he doesn't have the respect that maybe somebody who got there in a more humble, hardworking way did. That's all I can really think with that stuff. I mean, I like to think this podcast will be big one day because of our genuine interviews, because of our genuine conversations and talks, and something that brings out all types of emotions, and a great podcast that people connect with, rather than me, you know, uh, going to somebody and like saying, "Yo, you want to fight? You want to fight?" just to get a few quick laughs, risking myself to get hurt. But hey, it was good for the gram. Or like that guy who will just throw pillows at people just because. I mean, whatever, dude. Congratulations on you getting the following, but I'm gonna try to do it my way, and that's all I could do. And I don't care what the other competition thinks. Listen, Dolo, on our journey to grow this network, we need to be racehorses. You notice how racehorses have their eyes covered, just run
Mhm.
straight. That's what we have to do. Who cares what the other people are, and
I
whether they
don't
get there in
disagree.
a real way or fake way? We're just gonna focus on us, and we're gonna at least be happy with ourselves that we did it the right way, our way.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you would ever run into that problem, Matt. You came into the game exactly who you were, and it really, I wouldn't I wouldn't say you have crazy opinions. I wouldn't say that. Like your perspective right there was pretty on point. I don't think you would ever have that problem looking at younger guys and being like, "Hey, like I don't approve of what you do." Like I know that's not you.
It means
Like
a lot, and I hope I don't change that way either. That I am this way the whole time, and
yeah,
I don't slip up. I just pray one day I don't slip up.
there's a place for everybody. There's a place for everybody in this content game. Like
Yeah,
maybe not everybody, but for most people, as long as they're not harming anybody or telling you
yeah.
to do some stupid stuff.
As long as they believe in themselves, why not? And again, as long as people don't get hurt, that's the thing. Listen, when it comes to offending people, you have to say people interpret things differently. So I'm not going to
Right.
say don't try to get yourself to be, don't try to do things so you don't be offensive, in the sense that definitely be yourself, but also don't do things, don't be say racist, sexist, homophobic things to bring your point across. Again, I'll say it again. You can say your point without being graphic like that. But
Absolutely.
just don't be afraid to be yourself at the same time too, but understand your boundaries and have a filter.
That's the Matt Brown perspective. I love it. I love it. I never really got your mind. I never really knew how you thought about all that stuff until now. I like that.
Well, I appreciate you asking. Thank you for asking. And I still have a lot to learn and a lot of things to grasp. And I believe we are going to get into that place. We're going to get into
Absolutely.
that
I
place.
promise I won't mess it up, bro. I promise I won't do nothing crazy. Yo, when
I trust it.
we used to
I
do
really do
word for
trust
word
it.
podcast, bro. Me and Cecil would talk about it. Like yo, like what can we say? What can we not say? What's gonna get us in trouble? What's not? And as the person that was editing pretty much all the footage, I would have to comb through things because me and Cecil were quite a dynamic duo, um, and we would say some crazy stuff sometimes. So like we would have to comb through a lot of what we say, like not really dumbing it down or anything, but just cutting the fat, I guess you would say, so, stuff that didn't need to be there. That might be a little off the wall. Like we used to think about that all the time. One thing about content, creating content and being in the limelight and trying to put yourself out in, I guess, you know, in a viral sense, or in the mainstream, you definitely you gotta walk the line. You gotta walk the line. You
Be
gotta kind of,
respectful.
yes, and you gotta conform to certain things. Like you might think one way, gotta watch how you say it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's be real. Can we truly say 110% of things on our mind? No, we really can't. We need to have a
Yes.
filter and hold ourselves accountable. When I say don't be afraid to be offensive, that's more about having a strong take. Obviously, don't say thing again. Don't be homophobic, sexist. Don't be racist. Don't let that part out there if you have that in you.
Hmm.
And if you do have that in you in general, don't put content out.
You probably
Reevaluate
shouldn't.
why, yeah, reevaluate why you have those disgusting, terrible thoughts. And I
Or
hope
at
that
least,
you could change that.
yeah, absolutely. At least try and don't like upload on YouTube or Facebook. Get your own domain page and do your own weird stuff. Like,
And for everyone else, the other 90% of decent human beings in this world, just don't be afraid to put your strong takes out there. Be ready to defend them, but remember to stick to them as well. That's what I'm ultimately saying when it comes to expressing yourself. Be who you are, but be respectful.
absolutely. Some people deserve it, man. Like, some people deserve to, like, be kicked out of the stratosphere.
Yep.
There was a YouTuber named EDP445. Um, he got caught pretty much trying to like meet up with a little girl or something. And not only
Terrible.
did he get banned off of YouTube, he got banned off of Facebook. He got banned off of Instagram. He got banned off of TikTok. He tried to start his own website. The domain, like he can never. I don't know what happened. I guess the domain holders would always, like, pretty much tell him no and fuck off. I guess. Uh, People like that, yeah. Like it's to a point you can't even get on the internet. If you're really a vile person, that's where cancel culture really does come in. If you're a really
And that's
vile
where it is a
person,
good thing.
yeah, when you're a vile person, they will make sure you don't get the light of day, which is, I think, a good thing for sure.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
bro. I definitely
it's
don't disagree.
yeah, it's. I guess it goes with the saying: "It's never too much of a good thing could be a bad thing." Like in a sense, like too much of one thing can be bad. Uh, like so you got to have a good mix. You gotta really got to pick and choose. Who we're trying to mute and who we're trying to silence, and well, they get it right sometimes, and sometimes it's a little extra. But I feel like we're gonna do big things with this podcast network, man. I don't think we'll have those issues. I think we'll be responsible enough to put out good content for people to enjoy.
Just never forget this conversation. It's a good evaluation as we are about to pursue this endeavor. Understand the responsibility we have in having a platform and don't screw it up. Be
Yeah.
respectful, be yourself, and understand your audience is everything. And with that, Dolo, I think we can call it a day. This was an awesome, awesome, awesome talk about content creation, reevaluating, evaluating, and most importantly, making good decisions. So let's do this, Dolo. Let's grow the Productive Conversations podcast. Let's pave the way for the productive nation.
Yes,
And
sir. Yes, sir.
congratulations on this new job for you. And I'm so honored to have you a part of this journey with me, Dolo. God bless you, bro. And with that, Dolo Ren, but I will officially call you Alexander Dejesus, which is your name. So, Alex, thank you for everything. I'll give you the floor one more time before we sign off. Is there anything else you have to say?
Uh, I'm 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 excited, bro. I'll say that much. I'll say that much. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. Um, yeah, just so y'all know, I guess like Matt previously said before, you'll see my face a few more times. I definitely look forward not only just to putting out these clips and making this content for y'all, but you know to be in the mix. Like I can't wait till I could co-host a show with you, and I think the vibes are gonna bounce off pretty well. And yeah, we gotta kick this off right, man. I wish I had a beer on me. I give you a salute right now. I do got some Heinekens in the fridge though, but you know,
Hey, man, we'll save that for next time. Let's just get to
absolutely.
work. Job's not done. And never forget that the productive nation is key, is king and queen, and everything else in between. So let's do it. To my buddy Alexander DeJesus, thanks again for another great show. And God bless you, bro. We'll see you very, very soon. You the man, Alex.
Matt, it's a pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Looking forward to it. All right. Have a good night.
You too, bro.